All right. Hey guys, Dejon here from Trend Watchers, and I got Kahlea Nicole. Am I saying your name right?
Kahlea, but it's a
Kahlea.
hard one. It's okay. Kahlea Nicole,
Shoot.
yeah.
Shoot.
Hello.
I should have asked that before we hit record, but it's all good.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
we're
That's
running as we
okay.
go in. But yeah, this is episode 2 of Finding Your Purpose podcast, and Kahlea has a like an amazing story that she's going to share with you guys. So yeah, it should be a really a good one. So yeah, I guess let's hop right into it. Yeah.
Let's do it.
So tell me more about yourself. Like where are you from? Like where you calling from?
Yeah. So I'm currently based in Tampa, Florida, the Sunshine State. Love it over here.
Hey.
I was raised in Ohio though, and I moved to Florida about 10 years ago. I love it. I don't want to leave.
Man, Florida's a really nice state. I used to
It
always live
is.
on the East Coast. Now I'm over here in Utah, but like I'm
Yeah.
definitely coming back to the East Coast of Florida. Also
Oh
the best
yeah.
time zone too, Eastern time zone.
Oh yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah. You should come
nice.
on over. Yeah, I love Utah too though. My husband's family used to live over there, and so such a great state as well. It's beautiful out there.
Oh yeah, and some real mountains, but I love me the beaches every now
Yep.
and then.
I'm definitely a beach girl. I
Yep,
will take the beach all day.
yep, beaches and Waffle House. So yep, I'm
Yep.
with you on
Yeah.
that right there.
Love that.
Yep. So like growing up, can you tell me a little bit more about that as far as like your hobbies, what you like to do?
Yeah. So I really grew up, I kind of always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I was like the young kid. At one point, my family up in Ohio, we lived on a golf course. And I was the young girl, like 8 or 9 years old, where the golf balls would land in our yard. And so I would grab them, I would clean them, make them all brand new. Had my mom take me out to go get some chips and, packs of Gatorade. And I would set up a stand right there on the golf course. And as the golfers would come
Oh,
by, I would
wow.
sell them back their golf balls that had landed in my yard that they were still playing with. And I was like, oh, sorry, that's gonna be $1, $2. I was always finding something like to create or to sell. I was like always the one that did like the lemonade stands or would try and make the friendship bracelets and sell them at school. Like
Yeah.
I just always loved the idea of having my own business. And so when I was younger, I did, lots of sports. I was always trying to find kind of like an entrepreneurial route to take. And then really things shifted for me when I got to college. So I actually started my business when I was 17 years old. I was a freshman in college and I was listening to one of our professors go around in an introductory class asking what everyone wanted to do once they graduated. And everyone was like, oh, I want to be in corporate, or I want to have a legal office, or I want to be a doctor or whatever. And came around to me and I was like, I don't want to work in corporate, and I'm here for marketing. Like I'm not doing anything crazy out here. And so it was just in that moment that I realized I really didn't want to spend my life working for somebody else. I wanted to create my own company. I wanted to have that time and location and financial freedom and build something. I didn't know what that looked like. So I ended up starting a blog, and I just was always intrigued by doing something new and just having that freedom of being able to try new things and shift things. Because even when I was younger, I was always trying new things or trying a new sport.
Mhm.
I was constantly like getting bored with what I was doing and then shifting into a new space or trying to get a new job because I wanted to, try something new. And so
I like
it's
it.
just funny how like growing up and being younger and seeing those kinds of things that I was doing as a kid and how they've translated and turned into me, now at 24, having my own business, and I've had it for the last 7 years. But I
Mhm.
feel like the skills that I was developing young, from a young age, and kind of like I don't know, the signs I was showing from like
Yeah.
8 or 9 years old, right? Like kind of led me to now being here and having my own company, which is a huge blessing.
Yeah. I love that golf ball story about how like just selling the golf balls back to them.
Yeah.
And the part I love about that specifically is that like the people, like your customers are coming to you, you're not really coming
Yeah.
to them, so they have like they man that's amazing.
I was meeting them where they were at. I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
sorry, landed in my yard. So you got to
Yeah.
buy it back from me. It's mine now.
I'm saying, yeah, and then upsell them of like, you want a Gatorade too with that, Like,
Exactly. I was like, you're thirsty, I kind of
goodness.
got in trouble when I was younger with like the golf cart girls because they were like, you can't be doing this. And so I had to
Yeah.
like kind of hide behind a tree.
Some haters.
But they still found me. They found me. I was
Hey,
like, I'm over
yeah.
here.
That's funny. I love that. And I love how like like as you were like growing up, you were going from like one thing to another.
Yeah.
I was kind of the same way too. I get my parents always told me like, Dijon, you have like a hard time focusing, but I'm kind of grateful for like bounce from thing to thing because like I have all those accumulated skills. And I
Yes.
guess my question for you is like, what, like, as you're going through like all these ventures growing up, what skill sets were you using and accumulating, and how are they helping you today with what you're doing now?
Yeah, I love that question because I'm really big on transferable skills, especially as a business owner. Like what skills can you gain from any situation, any circumstance, any job that you're in,
Hmm.
community that you're in, season of life that you're in? Like what can you grab from that and be able to apply during other seasons of life or
Hmm.
business that you walk into? And I would say some of the ones for me were just in general people skills, being able to have conversations with people, communicate my thoughts and my ideas well. That translated into, now negotiating paid partnerships with brands or business deals with other companies. I would say another one would be just speaking, being able to speak not only like one-on-one, but also, doing podcast interviews and things like this, or
Hmm.
speaking on stages, and that translating into everything from like how I'm showing up online to hosting my own conferences or speaking on stages, and that being a big part of my business. I would say like just a lot of people skills, a lot of just like
Yeah.
communication skills, and also just a lot of discipline. I really tried to discipline myself at a young age, whether, just kind of like really forcing myself to go through college when I did not want to go through
Yeah.
college, and I did finish, but I was like, this is such a waste of my time. I
Hats
want to
down
be
to
an
you.
entrepreneur. Oh my gosh. And I
Man.
finished it, and here we are. But just learning that discipline when it was even something like doing homework or making sure I was meeting deadlines. And when I was in college, I was like a full-time schedule. I had,
Hmm.
5 classes a semester typically. I was working a part-time job, and then I was building my business at the same time. And
That's
so being
insane.
disciplined, yeah, I was crazy. Still am crazy. And so
You and me
I was
both.
trying to do so many things at once because I was like, I just also wanted to prove that I could balance that, and just creating like an insane amount of discipline. And that's allowed me to really transfer that into now, like I have a team of 5 that
Mhm.
I'm leading. And so being able to also delegate, being able to communicate the goals and the vision of our company and where we're heading, and lead them well and serve my team well, but then also show up and serve, my community well. And so it's just taking like every single thing that you go through, you can always grab something for that to use later in life. And so it's
Mhm.
just like you said, accumulating all of these different things through different situations and circumstances you go
Mhm.
through, but you eventually end up using those skills in some capacity down the line.
Yep, and it's a beautiful thing, you
It is.
know?
It is.
And that's the number one piece of advice I tell people, like, people that come to me, they're like, "Oh, like, I wanna get started making, like, money online or just, like, doing something," and, like, um, sometimes no, like, in most cases, like, the right opportunity, like, uh, isn't right there right now, so I always tell people
Yeah,
to go and, like, build skills, like, go out there and, like, learn something so that when the opportunity
totally.
comes, you could just execute really quickly, so I love
Totally.
that.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
networking too. I would say that was a big one. Like
Oh, yeah.
I always wanted to put myself in rooms where I was not the smartest person. I wanted to be like, quote unquote, not the most intelligent person in that room. I'm
Mhm.
always trying to find rooms where there are people smarter than me that are doing bigger things, that have bigger goals, because it challenges me and it
Mhm.
inspires me and it encourages me. And like I'm always trying to learn something from any new person that I meet.
Mhm.
I'm always trying to learn something, and then also simultaneously figure out, how can I serve you? Is there anything that I could do to meet a need in your business or in your life right now? Like, how could I pour into you? And, just kind of having that like reciprocity and in networking and making those relationships. I know you're super big on networking as well.
Yeah.
I think that's just like a big one in business, like just networking and meeting as many new people as you possibly can.
Absolutely, yep, and one thing I like doing, to take things further, I don't really c I like it's really rare that I collect people's phone numbers because like, phone numbers, like, I add them to the phone, and then it's just, like, another like,
Yeah.
another lost number in my phone book. I like adding people on, like, Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook, and then just,
Yes.
like, keeping the stories up, posting consistently so that they're able to, like, just, like, um, they're at least not thinking about me 24/7, but just, like,
You're
if
staying
they
top
have.
of mind.
Mhm, yep. So
Yeah.
so for you, let's say someone so like and we'll hop into this like later in in a bit, but like someone wants to make money as far as like getting like collaborations on Instagram or whatever social media platform. First person that comes to mind is you. So I love using like
Yeah.
social media and networking to kind of like
Yeah.
not only build the network but also to kind of like stay fresh in people's minds
Hmm.
whenever a problem or opportunity arises. So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, I love networking for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's such a
Yeah.
good thing.
Yeah. Do you have like a strategy as far as like maintaining your like maintaining a network?
Yeah, good question. I same following on TikTok or Instagram or, making that like LinkedIn connection. I just started like leveraging LinkedIn when our CMO joined our team in January, and she's like, "We got to get you on LinkedIn. Like that's where the companies are," especially like me
Mhm.
being in the brand partnership realm, trying to make connections with like other influencer marketing managers or content creators or influencers. And so that's like one of mine. I also love, sometimes like I'll still get business cards from people, but I always write down on the business card like what the connection was. My dad taught me that. He was like, anytime you get a business card, write down like a fun fact that you learned about them, or not just like what they do, but like something that's going to help you remember their name. And then I like try and practice remembering their name because sometimes I can
Yeah.
be bad about that. So that's why I love like the social connection as well, to like be like, okay, yeah, that's this person and I met them at this event and like this is what they do and like this is what they're known for, and like that's kind of the conversation that we had. But I also really try to be more and more consistent as I get older and as I build my network to consistently follow up with certain people. So there are certain people where it's like, I will literally put it on my calendar to like reach out and just check in and be like, "Hey, just like wanted to connect with you. Is there any way that like I could serve you in your business this week? Or like, how
Mhm.
could I pray for you? Or like, how could I support you with what you're doing? Or like, just how are you? How are
Mhm.
things? Like, how's business going for you? Like, how's life? How's your family? How are your kids?" Like, I don't, depends on who the person is, but I try and be really consistent about following up and like continuing to like put myself on their radar. And that has not only led to like amazing friendships and relationships, of course, but also really amazing business opportunities, because like that consistency and persistence that I'm also showing and like genuinely trying to build a relationship and seeing how we can like mutually serve one another, that's something that people really appreciate. And I think that is like almost like a lost art nowadays. It's kind of like everything
Mhm.
is like so fast transaction and like, what can you do for me? And if you can't do anything for me, I don't care. And it's like, networking isn't just about finding people that can do something for you. It's also just like knowing that like you're blessed to be a blessing, and like trying to see how you can bless other people that
Mhm.
could use your strengths or your skill sets or your connections. And like
Mhm.
that's just how I really look at networking. And I'm also trying to build like genuine relationships and
Yeah.
connections with people that understand what it's like to be an entrepreneur or a business owner or a content creator, because not everyone gets that space either.
Mhm. I love how you said like just like making a note. It's the same thing because I do the same thing as well. On my calendar, like, oh, I gotta call Brian or Jessica on
Yeah.
like Monday or Tuesday of this week here. But I love like I don't know what you do specifically, but I love just picking up the phone, just like calling people out the blue and be like, hey, what's up? And just
What's
having
up?
like, yeah, something
Yeah.
like how's business going? How's the family coming along? How's just like good like personal questions. So like it's just like I guess like with the entrepreneurship journey, um building the business, making sales, that's nice, but like real happiness comes from like the people like you
Yeah.
like helped along the way and kind of like that are like with you as your journey went along. And that's
Totally.
like, yeah, that's like the part that makes me the most happy. So that's one thing I
Yeah.
like doing. It's like picking up the phone, just like talking to people, like
Yes, we
like
don't do that
like
enough anymore.
I'm
Or on like
saying,
social Zoom
yeah.
meetings, I'm like, "Hey, do you want to do like a virtual 15-minute like coffee chat or something, like just to catch up and, see what's going on?" And like even stuff like that. Like you could do a phone call, and it's like texts are great as well, but like I love sending voice messages a lot. I love
Mhm,
trying to like have a phone call or be on the phone or be on like a Zoom chat, even if it's just like 15 minutes,
mhm,
just to like, tell someone that you're thinking about them, or, I don't know. Like I just think that it's so important to build those relationships and make that
mhm.
a priority, because I think sometimes it's so important to make money. Obviously, we have a business, we have like bills to
Yeah.
pay, but we can't also lose building those relationships in the process, because there's so much joy in that community, like building that community as a
Mhm.
business owner.
I like it. All right. So I think you touched on this a little bit with your blog, but like what got you into becoming like a content creator? What was like
Yeah.
the story about behind that?
Yes. So started my blog at 17, and then realized that there were other creators that were making money through brand partnerships. And so I started reaching out, and I've always been big on like investing in business, investing in myself, investing in coaching, mentorships. So I reached out to a few of them and I was like, "Hey, can I literally pay you to teach me the ins and outs of how influencer marketing works and how you're working with brands and how you're landing these paid partnerships or paid blog posts?" I was like, what even is this? How
Yeah.
does it work? Like, let me know, because I want to be in on this. And I was just really intrigued by it. And because I was so young and like so new to the industry, people weren't terrible, but they were just like, that's really a nice thought that you want to do that, but like you're not going to make it. And I'm just giving you some tough love. Like it's just not going to work out for you. So like just don't waste your time trying to figure it out. And basically, no, I'm not going to help you. There is so much influencer marketing gatekeeping, right? And industry gatekeeping. And it still exists today. Thankfully, not as much, but back then this was 2015. So like influencer marketing was like, influencer marketing has been around for a long time if we like go back, but it really started when like YouTube had launched, and, it was not nearly as big back then as it is right now.
Yeah.
And so I was told that I wasn't going to make it and they weren't going to help me, even if I paid them. And so I was like, well, I'm going to figure it out myself.
That's what
And
we like.
that's what I just started doing. I just started trial and error, like sending terrible pitches to brands and like negotiating and taking on like insane deals I should never take on. I would never recommend people to take on now, but like I was just trying to figure it out. And so through that, I started landing deals. I finally started getting a system down and created kind of like my own framework for how I pitch and negotiate brand partnerships. Then I started posting about them, and then creatives were like, hey, how are you doing that? And I was like, I will never be the person that is like, no, I can't tell you. I'm not going to tell you because it's a secret and it's only for me to know. I was like, no, like you win, I win. Like this is a community. Like let's share what we know and what we've learned, and like pass on ideas to each other and like give each other advice. And so I just started sharing like education. I started doing like free mentoring for people. I was like, I want you to land paid partnerships too. Like that was my passion, is just like getting other people, like, taking them on and saying like, let's get you doing this as well. Like, let's monetize what you're doing. And so I started getting a lot of more people that wanted to, hire me like as a coach or as a mentor, and I couldn't keep up with the demand. So I was like, okay, I think I need to start charging for this.
Yeah.
So I started doing, like very like low key, like 30-minute sessions I was charging for. Then I kind of dabbled in one-on-one. And then it was 2019 that I had the idea to create a group coaching program where I would really walk creatives through how, from start to finish, how to land paid brand partnerships, no matter what their follower count was. And I ended up like, before I even finished the entire framework for that, I sold out all the spots in the group coaching program. And I was like, okay, so people do want this. And so I did that for a couple of seasons. I think we did like 2 or 3 rounds of group coaching. And it got to the point where I was having to turn away people from the group coaching aspect because I just couldn't take on, like, I'm really big on like doing work with excellence, and also like pouring so intentionally into every single person that decides to invest in me, because it's just not a decision that I take lightly when you're choosing to invest in me. And so I was like, okay, what do we do? And then 2020 hit, and I was like, okay, a lot of people are losing their jobs. A lot of people are wanting to get into this space. How can we get more people? How can we make this more accessible? Number one, more financially accessible. And number two, get more people landing paid partnerships. Like anyone can do this. Like, and I can teach them. Like, how can we get more people in here? And so I had this idea of turning network to net worth, which was my group coaching program, into my now signature self-paced course. So it's 12 modules. We turned everything into, from the group coaching program, we like moved it over into Kajabi, created an online platform for it. And then I had the idea of like, what if people could not only learn from me, but also learn from, lawyers, CPAs, people that specialize in travel collaborations, people that run agencies and are managing influencers, people that are on the brand side that are doing the influencer programs for these massive companies. What if we could bring them in and have them do these guest speaker interviews? So then like these students could learn from not only me, but like 25 plus other people. And so that's what we did. And so now Network to Net Worth is my signature self-paced course where you can learn from me and up to 25 plus other guest speakers that are specialized in their industry. And it's financially accessible for creators. And also there's no cap to how many people can get in there. So that was like kind of what started this realm of like me monetizing, not only through brand partnerships, but also through the educational aspect. And that's truly what I fell in love with. Like, I love being a content creator, and I still do that full time. But my heart is education. Like, my heart is just getting other people to land paid brand partnerships. And for me personally, I've secured like 50K in brand deals, but I help my clients secure, my students secure up 6 figures plus. Like, we're about to break about $1 million that we've helped our students make. So I help
that's pretty cool number. Yeah.
I help my students make way more than I ever have, but that's my goal. I want my students to be insanely more successful than I ever have been, because I'm taking the last 7 years of my knowledge, packaging it up into this course and handing it to them. So when they first start out, they're starting like 7 years of experience basically in, and learning how to do things the right way the first time. And like that is what blesses me the most. Like, that is my passion, is just really taking other creatives and saying like, here's your unique skills and talents.
Mhm.
Here's how you can monetize them. Here's how you can build long-term and well-paid partnerships with brands, no matter what your follower count is.
Mhm. I love that. And I was planning on saving this question a little bit later because it's like the Finding Your Purpose podcast. But I guess like out of those like case studies and success stories, which ones really brought like the most joy and fulfillment into your life? And I can give you examples. So, like for me, like with my company Trend Watchers, I help like creators go viral with trends. And when I helped my first client go from like 3K subscribers to like over 400,000 subscribers
Wow.
in about 2 years, just watching that like transformation like made me feel like super like I felt like I was making an impact in the world, you know? So I don't know, do you have like any
Yeah,
stories like that? Like something where it
I
was like, wow,
do.
yeah.
Yes, I do. I'll share a couple. So I would say one of my favorite testimonials that we get from Intuit students is just the increase in confidence in themselves. Sometimes it's not even a dollar amount that they landed, but it's just them actually believing that they are more capable than they had been giving themselves credit for, and
Mhm,
that they are actually have great talents and skills that they can leverage to monetize. And like just that confidence in themselves, or like the mindset shifts that happen where they like don't believe in themselves and now they're like, no, I can't do this, like I
mhm,
got it. And like that translates not only in business but also in just how you carry yourself, and you believing in yourself, and like you believing that you're worth it and that you're worth being paid. Like those are some of my favorite
mhm,
testimonials that I get, is just like the confidence and the mindset shifts, or someone
mhm,
that's like, oh my gosh, like I've never thought that I could do this and now I really believe that I can. All the way to, we had a student that within her first year of, or she took Intuit, and within her first year, not even, she was like, it wasn't even a full year. She made 89K her first year, and now she
that's
makes a
the number.
consistent six figures a year just from brand partnerships. That's not to take into consideration any other of her,
Mhm,
more or revenue streams that she has. Strictly from brand partnerships, she's doing that. So I would say like, and then in the middle of that, people leaving their full-time jobs that they hated and didn't feel
mhm,
valued at, and are doing content creation full-time after taking Intuit, to those that are like, you know what, the brand partnership money that I'm making now has allowed me to take my family on a vacation that we've always dreamed of, or has
mhm,
allowed me to have my husband step away from a job that he hates. And so we are doing this, and like that's picking up, and I'll be able to step away from my job soon. Like just people living in alignment to like what they're truly passionate about and what they
mhm,
feel like they're called to in life, and being able to do that because of what they're learning in Intuit, and just
mhm,
like negotiation skills, because I teach a lot of negotiation in Intuit, and then being able to translate that and negotiate for higher salaries if they do love their job and they're doing brand partnerships on the
mhm.
side, or negotiate for even things on like vacations, right? Like
Yeah.
Airbnb deals, or like hotel stays, or
Yeah.
just so many different things, like things that are like really making them live a life that they love and are passionate about, and they feel like is in alignment to what they feel like they're called to do.
Mhm.
And those are some of my favorites. I have so many that I could share, but
Yeah.
it's really, really it's very fulfilling just seeing the stories that come out of students that take Intuit.
I like it, and I also love how, like the skills like your students are learning, like how they're able to like not only apply it to like and like getting like partnerships, but also how they can apply it to just like all areas in life, you know.
Yes.
I find that really
Yes, the
unique.
transferable
Yeah.
skills. I'm really big on
Yeah.
teaching transferable skills. So like pitching, I'm like, pitching you can apply to anything. Negotiating, you can apply to anything. How do you
Yeah.
sell? You can apply that to anything. Creating content. We live in a content focused world. Like you can
Hmm.
apply that to so many different things. And so it's really cool to see how they use it, not only for brand partnerships, but like all these other areas in their lives, and in their business, and even like friends or families' lives, or their significant others' lives, like how they
Hmm.
just take it and run with what I'm teaching in there. It's
Yeah.
really cool to see.
Now, does your program, does it have like a mindset training? Because like of all the programs I went through, in order to reach like desired results, it takes like a level of like just like self-belief and self-confidence, just like a whole paradigm shift as to believing
Yeah.
like I'm worth like this amount of money for like this deal or whatever. Do you have something like that?
We do. So the very first module in Intuit, and then we also are releasing the kind of like the baby version of Intuit called Intuit Light. And
Hmm.
both of them, the very first thing that I put in there is a mindset training. So just really attacking like limiting beliefs that you have and shifting your perspective and like what you believe about yourself or your business or what you're capable of. And then next to that, and into our main program, what we have is I brought in a counselor, and he does like therapy and counseling. And so I brought him in to teach from like a therapy and counseling perspective what mindset actually looks like and how you can tackle those limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
And we like, again, that's like really bringing in those guest speakers, because it's like, I don't have my PhD, but he
Yeah.
does. And this is like what he practices, you know? So it's like, I'm going to leverage that, bring him in. And I will tell you that out of all we have like over almost 40 hours of content in End-to-End. And that one section by far is always every single student's favorite, because it sets the tone. Like I could teach you all the strategies and tips and advice and hacks and ways to do things all day long. But if you genuinely don't believe that you can land paid brand partnerships, it doesn't matter how many strategies I teach you, you're always going to be holding yourself back. So we have to tackle the mindset aspect first. So that's the first place that we start in both the programs.
I love that. And once again, like once you fix your like adjust your mindset within like going out there and like getting those collaborations, it seeps into other areas of life and just like your whole life. Yep, it's a beautiful thing. Yep.
It is.
I like it. So because I know for me, I have like my own program with like courses as well. And I was like, as I was making the course, I was like, I don't need a mindset training. Like I'm just gonna give like like value. When I guess like what, as you were creating this program, what roadblocks did you like come across as far as like adjusting the program, like getting that first like testimonial? Like could you walk me through like your I guess like yeah, I guess like the time frame and like the roadblocks you have to like overcome to get to where you're at?
Yeah. So when we first launched Network to Net Worth as the group coaching program, I mean, we priced it at, it was depending on the payment plan that you went with, it was anywhere from like 2,500 to 3,500 per person. So huge roadblock being in the creator space is that was a really high ticket investment for a lot of creators. So we definitely dealt with like a lot of fear of like the price and the investment, and is it worth it? And when you're first launching it, and like the very first thing I'm coming out with, that's a group coaching program and not necessarily just one-on-one, and it's that ticket price, people are like, okay, how do I know you're worth it? Like, how do I know I'm going to make the ROI? And so like, that was a huge roadblock. And so even like now launching it as a self-paced course, Network to Net Worth is $14.97. And still like, that's way more financially accessible, and everyone gets lifetime access to it, which is awesome. But I still deal with people being like, I don't know if that's the right fit for me, and that's a big investment, and I'm just starting out, which is another reason we decided to launch Network to Net Worth Lite for $397. So it's more financially accessible and like a lower cost investment. So like just the pricing was kind of hard. And then getting the first testimonial of like, you really have to like push people to like go through the program and like apply things so they can actually do a testimonial that like showcases what the program taught and how it changed your life or your business or led to different, you know, partnerships. And so just like getting it off the ground, you know, the first time ever launching it came with a lot of roadblocks of, I didn't know how to run a group coaching program. It was my first time doing it. When we launched the course version of it, I had never done a course before. It was my first time doing it. I think just like, for me, I'm not a tech person. I am a teacher. I'm an educator. I am not a techie. And so like the tech was a huge roadblock, but that's also where it came down to like, as I started growing my team, just starting to outsource where I did like where my strengths weren't. I just started to outsource for all my weaknesses, and, you know, finding people that could help me with tech, and finding people that could help me with like uploading things into the course and managing, you know, the content and uploading new content. And so I think another one too is like the influencer marketing industry changes so rapidly. And so you have to be like on it when you're updating the content. And something that I know our students really value that we do is we base all of the content updates off of what they want to see. So it's based off of their feedback, their questions, what lessons they want us to add in there. And so I think at first I was like, okay, what else do I add? Like, this is what I think needs to be in there. But as we started to get more students and they started to ask questions, I was like, okay, we need a lesson on that, or we need a whole module on that, or we need this and that. Cause like when I first started out, I didn't do as big of a mindset module as I have now, because I kind of thought the same thing. I was like, value, like, out. And like, as they get the value, like their mindset will shift. And it's like, no, we have to focus on that. And I was seeing like a lot of them run into the issue of not landing these partnerships, that they were doing the right strategies. But then I would talk to them one-on-one and they were like, yeah, but I just like, don't feel like I can do it. And I was like, oh, that's a whole
Yeah.
nother issue that we need to like tackle.
Yeah.
So just like I think a lot of people wait to launch a program or launch a course or launch something that they could monetize. And, really they wait for a long time because they think it has to be perfect or it has to be like the perfect end product before they can do it. And I don't recommend waiting. Don't wait, because you're going to figure it out. And like your students are also going to give you feedback as you go along, or your clients or your customers, like they're going to tell you as you continue to release new versions, what they want to see next, because they're going to be like the best market research, and you're not going to know until you put something out there. And so I'm so glad that I didn't, like, when I first launched Network to Net Worth as a group coaching program, we hosted everything in freaking Google Drive. Like
I did the same as well.
I don't know where to put it. I didn't know about Kajabi at the time. Like, and so like, I didn't know about the platforms. It wasn't fancy. It wasn't anything crazy spectacular. Like what it is now 3 years later is insane compared to what it started as. But I'm glad that I started it before it was perfect, because like it's never going to be perfect. Like, and we're still to this day constantly adding new lessons and constantly making it better. But like, that's the way that it goes. And so like, if you're listening to this and you have this idea of something that you could start, don't wait until it's like perfect and you have all the pieces, because like your ideal audience and your ideal customers are going to tell you how it could be improved. And they're the best people to listen to anyway, but like, just get it out there. Like just start it. Don't keep waiting and sitting on this great idea that you have.
I like that mentality of just like going out there and doing it. Even when I come out with new programs based on like customer feedback, I just go out there and I pre-sell it. I don't even like, I may do like the PowerPoint like skeleton structure, just like the names only, and the modules names. So I don't make the whole PowerPoint, but like I'm a big fan of just going out there and listening to the feedback and adjusting. And I can relate with you as far as like giving like pep talks to customers, as far as like just like oh, you got to go out there and do it. Like the problem, I guess like how I solved that problem was like making like more modules, go more into depth into things, and also systemizing things, such as like making templates, making what else, like kind of like a scheduler where you go and plan out like each and every day, like setting goals. Did you have to find yourself making a lot of those like resources to make it kind of doing the hard work so that it's easy for your customers to get the results?
Yeah. We have so many plug and play pitch templates and negotiation templates and follow-up templates and content calendars and pitching trackers and collaboration trackers. And we have like a whole directory in Network to Net Worth for brand contacts, where we just did the heavy lifting. So it's like, you could search we have like overall, I think it's almost 300 contacts that we have in there. So you don't even have to go do the research and find them. You can just go in the directory and find them. So like over the years, we've done so much of the heavy lifting. So they come in and it's like, listen to the videos, use the templates, like do the exercises, do the worksheets. But we have a lot of those digital downloads or exercises or things like that they can implement as they're going through the content. Because it first started out and it was like mostly just videos and me talking and like teaching. But then I was like, okay, we need a template for this and we need a So like now it's really fleshed out, where we have like the step-by-step framework and then all the templates that go with it. But then we're also constantly adding new ones too, because our students are like, oh, but like, do you have a specific template for like how to pitch to a podcast or how to pitch to a hotel? So like, you make like your overall template, and then you're like trickling down into making them more detail oriented. And so that just comes with growth, and I think that our students have just really appreciated that we listen so intently with what they're wanting to see and make adjustments according to their feedback. And I think that's the biggest thing, is like, just listen to your customers, like listen to what they're asking you for, because like they're telling you exactly what they want. And if you give them exactly what they want, they're going to be happy.
There you go. And you get more customers.
Yes, exactly.
I like that.
And they tell other people, like they spread the word of mouth. And then, they're like, oh my gosh, I love Intuit. You need to join Intuit. And so it's like, that's how we've really been able to grow the program. We have over 250 students in it. And it's a huge word of mouth referral for a lot of it.
I like that. And I also like how you have like a big library of like free resources and templates, because like you could even go and like take some of those and make like a landing page, or go like get this outreach template for podcasts in exchange for your email or whatever. You kind of use it as like a way, it's like a nice like lead generator. So I like that. Yeah.
We're big on email. We are really big on email. Like there's a huge there's a lot of conversation around like, oh my gosh, if you got hacked on Instagram, like, would you just be completely distraught? I mean, like, For me personally, I'd be like, dang, this sucks, but thank goodness we have an email list, because we have an
Yeah.
email list of over 6,000 subscribers.
Mhm,
And that's like the highest converting for us when it comes to sales. Is like social media is really huge, but
mhm,
we try and funnel as many people from all of our social media accounts to email,
mhm,
because it's just like it's a higher conversion. And also like that's a deeper level of community right there, where they're like giving you access into their email inbox versus
mhm.
just following you on a social media platform. So I'm really big, like we have multiple lead generators, but like our free pitch template, that's just like our general pitch template, that has over 3,500 signups. That one alone.
Wow.
It's over like half of our email list is because people have just signed up for a free pitch template. Because I've noticed that everyone, for like my audience specifically and creators, all of our templates, we have the pitch template,
Mhm,
and then we also have templates on what happens like if a brand emails you about an affiliate program. How can you turn that into a paid collaboration, or gifted
mhm,
collabs into paid collaborations? We got that question all the time. So I created this series of free templates, and those two are our highest generating lead magnets, because it's like
mhm,
done for you. All you have to do is plug and play. So anything
mhm.
that just makes anyone's life easier, it's like worksheets are great as freebies, or, you know, an exercise is great, but like a template or a Google sheet or like
Yep.
something that they
People
can
love that.
plug in, they eat that up.
Uh-huh.
They
Yeah.
love it.
I know you're talking about it's the same with my email list as well. And one thing I really love about email, I didn't really I think someone shared with me this insight like last year, but like email, it's all about like it's nice because like I don't know how often you send out an email, but like to my list, I send it out like once a week.
We
And
do 3 times a week. We do a lot of nurturing.
I like it. And I love that word nurturing too, because like with email, it all comes down to I forgot who it was by, but the guy said like you didn't sell like you don't sell people, you just catch them at the right time. So if
Exactly.
so email marketing, you're sending out an email like just consistently, like giving the value and everything.
Yes.
And like maybe today, like let's say I don't have the money to go and like enroll into your program, but let's say you keep on sending emails, and then 3 months from now a lump sum of money comes in, and then you know you just like the words you wrote in that email, like
Yeah.
it really moved me.
Yeah,
I'm
like
like, all
you're
right,
ready.
yeah, I'm ready to take action. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one thing I love about email.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like a timing game.
Totally, totally. And like we've had that situation happen so many times. And what's going to be really interesting is like at the time of this recording, we haven't officially launched Into In Light. We're launching it on Tuesday. And so this is the first time we're launching like a smaller version of Network to Net Worth that's at a much more financially accessible price. And so I think it's going to capture a lot of the people that have really wanted Network to Net Worth, but we're like, listen, a $1,500 investment is just not something I can swing right now, but $397, I can do that. And so it's people that have like been on our list and have seen us talk about Network to Net Worth that are like, oh my gosh, I wanted that, but like Into In Light, like count me in, like I could buy that
Yeah.
right now. And so what we do with all of our freebies too is I think a lot of creatives make the mistake of like, they're told you should have an email list. So they start one and they have a lead magnet. And then that's all you hear from the creative, except for like maybe once a month, we have like a newsletter, or like they create something else and they like it's like 2 months later you hear from them. So how we've set up all of our lead magnets is when you sign up, you immediately get that delivered to your inbox. So let's say you're signing up for the free pitch template, you get sent that. It's like, hey, awesome, we're so happy that you're here. Here's your pitch template. Then we have triggers where we set them apart, like about, depending on which one it is, like 2 to 3 days apart, where it's just value email, value email, value email. So we call those nurture sequences. So every single lead magnet that we have is attached to a nurture sequence. So no matter what they sign up for, they're getting more free content and value and tips and education, because my email list is like straight up education
Yeah.
out the wazoo. They're getting more of that. And I'm just constantly reinforcing that they made the right decision by giving me access into their inbox. Then when we run a sales sequence, like we're about to do next week, people are ready. Like they are just snatching it up. They're buying. Like we have the calendar, like people have their calendar set for when this launch is happening, because they're like, the bonuses I want in. They're
Yeah.
like waiting. You know, and I feel like people on email lists are like waiting for you to release something so
They're
they
just
can
refreshing, you know.
take their money. Yeah, they're like, take
Yeah.
my money, okay? You can have it. You know, I want to sign up for this thing. So it's definitely a different ball game, but there's no way that I would have been able to build that email list if I didn't first build the credibility and trust I have with my community on Instagram and now TikTok.
Hmm.
So it's all translated, it's all circle, but we try and keep it in a funnel where it's like, okay, we're funneling people from TikTok and Instagram to email lists, and then email lists to actually buying the products. And so we have a whole system going over here. And I think that there's a lot of missed opportunity with creatives not pursuing an email list and only focusing on social. Cause like, what happens if you lose your account? How are you going to connect with your community? It's like you are renting your social media platforms. You don't own them, but you own your email list, or you own a website.
Yep. And you know, even if your email provider, like, they just happen to like take down your account, wherever, you still have the emails, you just move to the next platform.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like it. And then as far as like your strategy for like getting new leads, you said TikTok. I know you have Instagram, and then you still run the blog, right?
So I actually don't do the blog anymore. Funny enough, I have like the website, but we mainly keep it for our sales. So really how we're funneling people is like LinkedIn mostly. We've LinkedIn and Twitter, we have Twitter. I have like 8 followers on Twitter. Watch out. Really, really big time out there.
I'll still add it down below in the description.
Help me out, y'all.
Yeah, let's get it to 10.
Twitter, LinkedIn. We also, Instagram and TikTok though are our 2 biggest platforms that we're funneling people through. And so I would say Instagram is like the main place where we've really built our email list from. But we recently had a video like go viral on TikTok. And so we like we're almost at 10K in like less than 4 weeks. And so we've had a ton of people. It's been ridiculous. The amount of people that have signed up for our email list after seeing content I posted on TikTok that are like, oh, I want the free templates. Give me the free templates. And I'm not even like creating TikToks about them. It's just the link in my bio.
Yeah.
But seeing the education and like converting a ton. Like we had like 50 people sign up on email after the video started going viral, and like broke 6,000 subscribers on our email list. And so it's just like really interesting to see, but I'm constantly also promoting my email list. I think a lot of people like have it, but they don't promote it a lot. I'm constantly like, here's our free pitch template, like free template, free template, free template, like you get a template, you get a template, and constantly talking about it. That way people like know it exists, and you're constantly like, typically you're getting new people in your audience that haven't seen you post about it before. So like, don't be afraid of sharing about it. But that's the main way. We're not always creating new lead magnets. We're just refining the ones that we do have and building out the nurture sequences and making sure those are really solid. And then just constantly talking about them on social.
I love that. One thing I like doing to build my list is like with and also nurturing as well, is like stories, Instagram stories.
Yes.
I think you post yours pretty often as well.
I do. Yep. I actually just posted one today where I was like, we got a testimonial. So like someone messaged me in DMs and we're like, hey, I just landed like my first deal and negotiated it and like landed it because of the free pitch template that I got from you. So I posted that and I was like, we love DMs like this. And then on the next slide, I was like, free pitch template, you know?
There
so,
you go. Yeah.
I'd be like, wait, she landed a deal. I need to land a deal. I need this template if I don't have it already. So I'm really big on like the Instagram stories. And now that everyone has the swipe up link, praise God.
I'm saying, yeah, it's so nice.
My gosh, that should have been a thing a long time ago. But like you can leverage that. It's such a great way to like immediately link your email list freebie. And also like if you need a good email provider, personally, I use Flowdesk. I'm obsessed with Flowdesk. Little plug right there. But I really love it because it's like aesthetically pleasing emails. It's an easy user interface. It's not confusing. I feel like a lot of email platforms are so freaking confusing and you don't even know how to get started. So then you don't start because it's overwhelming. But Flowdesk is like my personal favorite. That's what I use. What do you use?
So Aweber was my first love.
Okay, I used Aweber at first too, but then I felt like it was so confusing. So then I switched over to Flowdesk when they launched.
Yeah, that was like my first like that was the first like I guess like email platform I was taught. Like I did a social media marketing internship in high school, like at 16 years old, and he showed me how to run like Facebook ads, Google ads and all that stuff, and like connecting like Zapier to like Aweber, like all the automation. So that was my first love. And then for trend watchers, I use Mailgun. It's like I'm not a technical person either. I'm more like a marketing teacher guy.
Like that's not my thing.
Yeah. But I have it set to where like when people sign up on my website, like if when like on the sign up sequence on the category collection, on the category selection, if people hit like I want to get trends like the tech section, the gaming section, this section, it automatically puts them in like the email list for the text section or
Yeah,
the email
segmented
list.
out.
Yep. So it's like
Mhm.
super, it's like a nice complex backend, you know. So I
Yeah,
use
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the way to do it though, is
Yeah.
all the different segments. Yeah, I have multiple, like we have a different segment for each of our lead magnets. And then like we have a wait list for, network to net worth. And then we've had wait lists for different events that we host. And so we segment everything out to see like what people are signing up for what. And also, are there multiple people signing up for multiple different email lists?
Mhm.
So it's really interesting. But when we're sending out our nurture sequences, so like our nurture, twice a week emails that we send out on Monday and Friday, we send it to the entire list that we have. We don't segment those out. The only time we really segment what we're sending out via email is if we're in a launch and we're only launching to like a certain wait list first to give them like VIP priority to signing up for something. That's
Mhm.
the only time we only send emails to them. But outside of that, we're sending it to the whole list. I just like to see where people are coming from and like what they're signing up for.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm all about like tracking because like tracking, it's like goes hand
Yeah,
in hand with like marketing. Yep.
totally,
Yep. That,
totally.
that's a whole nother conversation. We're gonna
Right.
just go over that because this will go on for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
But one question I meant to ask you is like who is like your target audience? Like
Yeah.
who's like your ideal like customer?
Yeah. So I would say I mostly work with females, and I would say it's really any kind of industry because we have students at Intuit that are photographers, videographers, graphic designers, like hairstylists, anybody that's wanting to leverage their talents and skill sets as a creator and leverage that through monetizing with brand partnerships is
Hmm.
in my ideal audience. Someone that's like, that works hard, is driven, willing to invest in themselves,
Hmm.
is willing to, try new things and, get after it, and just wants to monetize and like either have brand partnerships be their full-time thing, a significant side hustle, or something that they kind of like dabble in as a hobby right now because they want to eventually transition to a serious side hustle or going full-time. Those are my kind of people. Like, but anybody that's in the creative space, not just content creators or influencers. I think that was a
Hmm.
misconception that that was another roadblock I had to get over, is like
Yeah.
forever it was like, oh, calling all influencers. And then the industry shifted. And then who I was really wanting to serve shifted from me. Not, I was like, I don't want to just talk to influencers because not just influencers can do brand partnerships. It's like you
Hmm.
could do brand partnerships, but you might not consider yourself to be an influencer or
Hmm.
want to be an influencer, but you could leverage brand partnerships. So really, that's why I say like creatives in general, no matter what kind of
Hmm.
industry you're in as a creative, if you're wanting to leverage the power of landing paid brand partnerships and monetize the skills and talents that you have, then you're a good fit for what I'm teaching.
So with that, is there like a minimum like a follower count you need to have, or is it just like more on like your the niche you're in? Like how does that
Yeah.
work?
So what's really intriguing is if you're trying to be like an influencer, and I'll clarify what that means. Influencer would be someone that has some kind of pull on a social media platform where you're influencing people to buy a product. I would say anywhere from like 1,000 plus people. A lot
Hmm.
of times this has to be like 10K plus. If you're under 10K, you're considered a nano influencer. So that's like 10,000 followers or
Hmm.
less. Lots of brands are working with more and more nano influencers because you have really high conversion rates. But if you have like under followers, but you're really talented as a creative, and let's say you're a photographer, a videographer, like you kill it with content creation, but like your following just doesn't showcase that skill that you have,
Hmm.
you could do UGC, user generated content. And that has nothing to do with your audience size because that's content that you're creating for a brand to use
Hmm.
on their email, website,
Oh,
social
that's
media.
interesting. Yeah.
Could be doing paid advertising. They could want it for a billboard. They could want it for in-store signage, anything like that. It has nothing to do with your audience size or follower count, everything to
Hmm.
do with your skill set as a content creator. So you kind of have these two buckets. You have those in the creative like space that want to be an influencer and they're like, I want to leverage the audience that I've built and I want to do partnerships with brands where I'm posting sponsored content on my social media platforms. And that's like the
Hmm.
influencer category. Then you have the second category of content creators that are like, I want to do UGC, just create content for brands that I'm not posting on my page, but I'm creating it for all of their pages. And you can make so much money from doing UGC. I
Hmm.
will sometimes make more, and my students will sometimes make more from doing UGC for brands than for doing actual sponsored content. Because, for example, if a brand wants to hire me, and I will usually charge anywhere from $800 to $1,000 for an Instagram reel. So let's say a brand is willing to pay me $1,000 for an Instagram reel. Well, let's say that I want to charge, $200 a photo, but I have a minimum of giving brands 10 photos. Well,
Hmm.
that'd be $2,000 I could make from UGC or $1,000 that I could make from a reel. So I could make more from UGC and not actually posting on my account, even though I still have a decent audience size. So it's like, and then there's the people that do both. Like I operate as an influencer and I create content on my page promoting brands, but I also operate as a content creator where I do UGC for brands that my audience never sees unless they are like maybe on their email, the brand's email list, or like they're scrolling on that brand's social media, or they see a paid advertisement of me come up. So it doesn't matter. Like that's what we had to make a huge shift when it came to network to net worth, and network to net worth light is like, you don't have to be an influencer or content creator to take this or want to be one of those, but you also don't need to have a certain follower count, because you can work with brands and land paid partnerships. Even if you have no following, you could have 0 followers and land paid deals if you have the skill set as a content creator.
That's interesting. And
right?
And the crazy thing is that like because this is my first time here about this year. It's just like an education problem, you know. Even with maybe with YouTube, I always thought that like you had to get like millions of views to make money on YouTube. But like I come across people that have like 500 subscribers making 10K a month just because like know how to like funnel their traffic off of YouTube to a course or program or whatever. There's like so many different ways. It just comes down to just like making people aware and just like educating them and then giving them the resources to go out there and make it happen. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's why I'm so passionate about it, because there is like a huge lack of education. And so I'm really trying to break the stigma that you have to be a content creator or influencer to make it in land paid partnerships. Like, you don't have to be, but you also could be. It's just a matter of like, I'm really big on let's uncover your unique talents and skill sets as a creative in general. And then let's figure out how we can leverage those to land you paid deals. That's what I focus on. And it doesn't matter how many followers you have. It doesn't matter your audience size. It doesn't matter like how much experience that you have. It really matters is like, let's look at your talents and skill sets, because brands want to use those. And when I would rather hire freelancers than sometimes people just in-house, because they might be able to get a better deal, or you can manage a project better than like who they're maybe trying to source and find to do in-house. So yeah, I'm really passionate about like just the education side. That's why I love teaching about it, because so many people don't realize like they're missing out on a huge opportunity to work with brands because they're stuck in this like mindset myth that you have to have a certain follower count or have to want to be an influencer or content creator. And that's not true.
I like that. And at the same time, change people's lives, you know, like just having that like a second income, you know, that like lifts up so much as far as like a financial burden on people, so and also on their families as well. So I love it. I don't want to, we're getting close as far as like to the hour mark, but what question did I have? Oh yeah, do you have like any exciting plans for the future?
Yes, we do. So we're actually building a second company right now that is going to be separate from the Kahlea Nicole company, which is where we're hosting Network to Net Worth, and I do everything I'm doing right now. We're keeping it pretty DL, but I will say that it is still in the realm of brand partnerships. So we do have that coming. We're hoping to launch that by the end of the year, like very low key, but I'm really excited about just kind of the opportunities that will unleash for creatives in the space. I would say like just we're growing the team right now. We have 5 people that, you know, are on team KN, and we're, you know, always looking for new people and like finding just different people that can fit into, you know, roles that we have. I would say like getting into paid advertising, everything that we've done up until this point has been completely organic, outside of like one $150 like Facebook ad we ran like last year. Besides that, everything's organic. So just doing more paid advertising and getting into like building out funnels more, because up until this point, we've always launched Network to Net Worth only 2 times a year. And so we're planning on opening it up evergreen this fall. So I'll have like our big launch like we always do, and then keep it evergreen. And then that's when in 2023, we'll start running some funnels and put paid advertising behind that. And so I'm excited to see kind of what that does for the brand and just for creatives out there that are wanting to land paid brand deals, but haven't seen my content before, you know, or haven't been like introduced to what I teach, that maybe we'll see it from paid advertising.
Yeah. And also with paid advertising comes scale. Cause like with organic, profit margins, they're like super high because you're not paying Facebook or Google, but it's also hard to like scale, but like paid, you kind of sacrifice some from profits to really scale. So that should be pretty pretty exciting once the numbers look right, because it is like a numbers game.
Yes, it is. It is. And I'm like, that's like next I want to find someone that can do that, like specializes in paid ads, because I'm not a paid ads person and I don't do funnels. So like we're always looking for, you know, okay, like who could do our funnels, who could do our paid advertisement. And so it's always fun to just like find new people that we'll be able to connect with and bring on the team to just like help us continue to bring like the dreams and visions that I have for the company to life.
I like it.
Yeah.
So as a last question, if you could do one thing every day for the rest of your life, what would that be?
Just educating. I think just
I
like
like
meeting
it.
people where they're at and, really helping them understand that they can do so much more than they're believing that they're capable of doing. And so just helping them like uncover those talents and those skill sets that they have and just pouring into them, just meeting where they're at, pouring into them and teaching. I would also say like creating content. I love creating content. So
Same
whether
here.
that's like that kind of like overlaps into teaching, I do a lot of teaching content, face to cam videos. And so I would say like those two things, or reading a good book. I love a good book.
Man, I cannot sit down and read a book. I'm more of like I gotta listen to like a podcast while I'm driving or while I'm doing something. Yeah.
I
But
love reading.
yeah.
I'm like trying to be better about like slowing down because as an entrepreneur, everything is always so fast paced and you're running around, you're doing the next thing. And so it like forces me to like slow down and be more present, which is something I'm really trying to be better, like more intentional about in my life. And so that's like, that's where that comes from. I'm like, you can do this, Kahlea. Just sit down and like read this book.
For me, for slowing down, I like going on night walks. Those are the best, especially like a nice
Listen,
like
as a
audio going
female
on.
in the city, you're not gonna catch me on a night. Maybe
Move
with
to
my husband.
move to the country.
That's what we need to do. If I was in the country, different story, because I used to live in the country. But down here in the city, I'm like, Christian, my husband, I'm like, let's go, babe. But we do like a hot girl, I call them hot girl walks, and he call hot guy walks. So we'll do like walks because we live kind of by the river, and there's like a river walk in here in downtown Tampa. So we'll take like walks a lot. Anything outside. I love being outside. Especially because like I work from home, I'm inside all day. I'm like, get me out of here and outside doing something of, like walking or reading a book by the pool, something like that. I'm down for that.
Yeah, I like it. But all right, hey, thank you for coming on, being the second guest for the Finding Your Purpose podcast. And for the people listening or watching this, we'll have all of her links down below in the description. But yeah, thanks for thanks for joining us, Kahlea.
Yes,
And
thank you.
yeah,
Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor.
Yeah, it was a good one. And